Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from AnthonysCustoms, and for this review we are looking at the NECA Alien vs Predator Grid vs Celtic Rivalry Reborn 2-pack. So we get one Alien, one Predator. I'm very happy about that. It's a nice set. You guys know I'm not the biggest Alien and Predator fan, but these figures are converting me. I've never had anything against the movies, I've just never been that big on them, but these guys are making me want to go watch all the movies. I was not expecting these figures to be as impressive as they are, especially given the price point. And I'm not just saying that, I'm enjoying them very much. So I understand why all of you guys keep collecting them, and that's why this line has been going for so long. Anyway, instead of rambling, let's just get these guys off the stand so we can take a closer look. We will start with the Xenomorph first, and he stands just about 9.5 inches tall, right around there, and you can adjust his height a little bit based on how he's posed. Makes him about 23.5 centimeters. The Predator stands about 22.5 centimeters, which makes him just about 8.75 inches tall. Pretty close to that anyway. And I have to comment on the amount of detail on these figures. I did not expect it to be that much. I mean, I knew they looked good. I thought they were going to be more along the lines of this guy, where it's mostly just a few different colors with lots of sculpt work to make it look good. But if you look at the Predator, he's got all of that sculpt work and a lot of different colors. It's just, I was not expecting this amount of detail and amount of quality for this price point. I'm very surprised at it in a good way, very good way. Before we talk about the figures anymore, though, let's look at the accessories. The first one is the tip of the tail for the Xenomorph, because it did get separated in the movie, so that's why we have that. Then we have the big net, which is obviously iconic for this set. And the net's actually functional. If you pull on the strings, it will close up like an actual net, so that's pretty cool, nicely made. We have the two melted claw things for the Predator. You guys know I don't know the names for this stuff. You guys know the names, so claw things will have to do. We do have his dagger or blade of some sort, whatever you want to call that. And we have his little spinny throwing thingy. That's as good as that one's gonna get. It's got all these little spikes and blades on it, and it looks really cool, but I don't know what it's called. So that's it for the accessories. Not an incredible amount, but definitely enough for this 2-pack. Let's go ahead and look at the Predator first in terms of detail and articulation. I did mention this obviously already, but I want to just show you how much detail he has. If you look at his stomach, there's browns and greens and yellows, and obviously the darker grayish black, and just lots of sculpt work and detail work. And obviously the mesh around him, that's all painted and sculpted, so that's really nice. And then the dreads, that's one of the things that really impressed me. These are all individual pieces. I thought it would be a few individual pieces on top of like a large chunk of them, and it's not. They're all individual, and they're all sculpted and all painted. It's just so nicely done. I can't get over it. I cannot get over it. Lots of good stuff here. So let's talk about the articulation. The head, I think it's just a single ball peg, and it does feel a little bit restricted because it's a rather bulky head, but you can rotate it around all the way. It can look up a little bit, it can look down a little bit, and it can lean from side to side a little bit, just not a whole lot. For the shoulder, unfortunately the shoulder pad is connected to the torso, but it's a really soft material, so it's not going to get in the way that much. It's always ideal to have the shoulder pads connected to the arms, but I understand because this is a bulkier shoulder pad, they wouldn't have been able to tuck that in, so you can still raise the arm up like this, and the shoulder pad still works. However, if you bring the arm this way, obviously the shoulder pad gets set slightly off of where it's supposed to be. Not ideal. But you do have the full ball hinge for the shoulder. It's not too bad. Full bicep swivel. How far can we get the arm up? If you get it in there, a little bit of extra effort, you can get it all the way up. So that's pretty good. I like that. We have a double jointed elbow, which gives us plenty of range of motion. I thought these guys were a little bit more limited, but they're not. They're surprisingly well articulated. And then for the forearm, we have a swivel here, and then of course the hand is on a ball peg, so it swivels also. For the torso, by the way, this shoulder is the same thing, it just doesn't have the armor on top of it. For the torso, it's at least a single ball peg, it might be a double, but you really don't get that much range. It's pretty limited. Oh, by the way, those of you that know things, what are these? Are they supposed to just dangle? Are they supposed to go back here? Are they supposed to be for the other version where he's got the gun on his shoulder? What are those things for? I don't remember, and I can't figure out if they're supposed to plug into something. I don't see any place for them to, so I don't know. You guys can let me know about that. Anyway, the torso, it does lean from side to side, a decent amount, but you're mostly just going to get your rotation out of that. Same thing for the lower waist. Doesn't seem to want to really lean anywhere, but it's going to be probably good enough. I know the Predator's not known for being in like Spider-Man-esque poses, so it should be okay. Definitely could be better, but it's not bad. For the hips, they're standard ball hinges. You can bring the legs basically all the way out to the side. Really no trouble there. Almost for the full splits, which is impressive for a bulky figure like this guy. You can bring the legs all the way forward, all the way, which is also impressive for a bulky figure like this guy. They don't go back too far. They don't really have any extra butt cheek room. They do have the full thigh swivel in there. They do feel a little bit floppy in some spots, so that could be improved upon. You can see right here they do have that one issue, that weird issue that oftentimes we see on the NECA figures where the legs kind of connect to each other, so it's going to be a bit of a trick to pose this guy without making him a little bit too floppy. For the knees, we have a double jointed knee, which is kind of a unique design, but you get really good range out of it, so I like that. It hides the joint nicely once it's bent, so that's a good thing. And technically, up here and down here, they'll both rotate, so if you need that for some reason, I don't know why you would, but if you do, you can rotate them. And then lastly, we have a really nice ball peg for the ankle. And by really nice, I mean nice for a ball peg. It's not as good as a true ankle rocker, but you do get decent play out of it, and it goes forward and back well enough. So the Predator is a really solid figure. I like it. It's not perfect, but for the price point, you really can't beat it. And the size and the price point and everything considered, I am very pleased with it. So now let's look at the Xenomorph. Obviously not quite as much detail, not quite as much going on this guy, but still pretty good looking nonetheless. We have this bluish, silverish, blackish paint job for the entire figure, and it looks good. It's nicely done. I like it. It accents all of the sculpt work. And then we have the grid pattern from the net, and that's nicely painted. You can see all of the green lines are at least really clean. Maybe not perfectly clean, but definitely clean enough. And there's shading in that too, which is impressive. So we have the lighter green and the yellow and the dark green all built into that mesh. I like it. We have, for the articulation, a double ball peg for the head, so it leans back pretty far. Not so far forward, but that's still a pretty good range, so that's good. You can lean the head from side to side a little bit, not too bad, and you can rotate it around no problem. The jaw, as you can see, is articulated, and the little mouth inside does come out, so that's pretty cool. For the shoulders, fixed ball hinge. You can get the arms up all the way, horizontal, so that's a good thing. You can rotate them all the way around, although since this is angled, it's obviously going to rotate at an angle. Nothing you can do about that, it's just the design. No bicep swivel up here, but you do get it down here in the elbow, which is a double jointed elbow, which gives you really good range. For the wrist, we have a swivel and a hinge on both sides, same hand for either side, or same articulation anyway. And then we also have the finger hinge, so that's pretty good. For the torso, we have probably a double. Yeah, it feels like a double. Doesn't have the best range. It doesn't go too far back or too far forward, but it does move, so that's okay. It's definitely going to be good enough. And then it will lean side to side and rotate. For the hips, we have our traditional ball hinges, which will bring the leg all the way forward, even more than that. It can go way high, so that's pretty good. And then it is limited out to the side due to the hips. We have our thigh swivel, and we do have the same kind of hip syndrome that we have on the Predator, unfortunately. I hope NECA can figure out the hips just a little bit better. That would be a big improvement on these guys, and it'll just get worked into the cost of production, hopefully. So that would be a nice thing. For the knees, we have a double jointed knee, which works really well and looks good, so I like that a bunch, and technically it will rotate, though again, I don't know why you would really need to do that. And for the ankles, we have our maybe double, maybe single, not sure, ball peg, but you get pretty good range. You can see that. It'll move around pretty well. So that's good, and we have a toe hinge. If you need a toe hinge, you have it. Of course, the tail is a separate piece, so it'll rotate a little bit, but the big deal about the tail is that it's bendy, and it holds the shape pretty darn well, so I like that a whole bunch. So this set for me is an absolute win. If you're an Alien Predator guy, you want this 2-pack for sure. It's a really cool looking set. It's an iconic scene from the movie. I even remember it, which is something because I haven't watched these movies a whole bunch. And I really like the set. The figures, despite the few flaws that they have, are really solid figures, and the price point makes them even better. Let's see if I can... Come on. Come on. There we go. Look at that. They're buddies. You should get this 2-pack, guys. I like it a lot. I think you guys will too, so there it goes. There it is. Thanks for watching. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. I have new videos up every single day. Sometimes more than one, sometimes as many as a whole bunch. Not usually, just a couple. Anyway, we talk about action figures, movies, TV shows, video games, all kinds of fun stuff, so make sure you come back for that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.